The red lights on the camera flashed 3 times. In 2 minutes, the most watched show in the galaxy would start. Jake Morrison sat in his chair and fixed his tie. He looked at himself in the small mirror on his desk. His smile was wide and fake. He had worked hard to get this job. Very hard. Maybe too hard. The studio was huge. Bright lights hung from the ceiling like stars. 3 cameras pointed at the desk where Jake sat. Behind him, a giant screen showed the cosmos. Stars and planets moved slowly across it. It was beautiful, but Jake did not care about beauty. He cared about fame. Ana Martinez walked onto the set. She wore a simple blue dress that matched her calm eyes. Her hair was pulled back in a neat style. She carried a small tablet with her notes. Ana was a scientist. She had spent 10 years studying how humans could work better with alien races. Her work had helped millions of people across the galaxy. Jake watched Ana sit down next to him. He did not like sharing the spotlight. He wanted all the attention for himself. The producers had told him that Ana would be his co-host for this special episode. They said she was important. They said the aliens loved her. Jake did not understand. Why? "Good evening, Jake," Ana said with a warm smile. "Are you ready for tonight's show?" Jake nodded but did not smile back. "Sure. Let's just get this over with." Ana looked confused. She had expected Jake to be more excited. This was the biggest show in the galaxy. Aliens from 200 different worlds would be watching. It was a huge honor for any human to be on this show. The floor manager raised his hand. 30 seconds, he shouted. Jake straightened up in his chair. He had practiced his opening lines many times. He would be charming and funny. The aliens would love him. He would become the most famous human in the galaxy. 10 seconds, the floor manager called out. The red light on the main camera turned green. They were live. "Good evening, Galaxy," Jake said with his big fake smile. "Welcome to Cosmic Conversations. I'm your host, Jake Morrison, coming to you live from Earth." The camera turned to Ana. She smiled naturally and waved to the viewers. "And I'm Ana Martinez. Thank you for joining us tonight. We have some wonderful news to share about humanity's recent discoveries." Jake's smile got smaller. He did not like how confident Ana sounded. The camera was supposed to focus on him, not her. "Yes, we do have news," Jake said, turning to Ana. "But first, let me say how nice you look tonight, Ana. That dress really shows off your assets." Ana blinked in surprise. That was not the kind of comment they had planned. She tried to stay professional. "Thank you, Jake. Now about our story tonight. I mean, who knew scientists could look so good?" Jake continued. His voice got louder. "Usually you science types are all boring and serious, but you're different, aren't you?" Across the galaxy, billions of aliens watched their screens. Many of them did not understand Jake's words, but their translation devices picked up the tone. It was not respectful. It was not kind. Ana felt her face get warm. She was embarrassed, but she tried to continue. "Jake, perhaps we should focus on the research. Our viewers are interested in the new communication technology we've developed." "Communication technology?" Jake laughed. "Come on, Ana. Nobody wants to hear about boring tech stuff. They want to see a pretty face explaining things they don't understand. That's why you're here, right?" On the planet Kethar, Ambassador Zara watched the broadcast with growing anger. The Cathari people valued honor above all things. What Jake was doing was not honorable. It was shameful. On the world of Zanari, the telepathic collective felt Ana's discomfort through the emotional translators. They began to worry about what kind of species humanity really was. Ana took a deep breath. She had dealt with difficult people before. "Jake, I'm here because I've spent years working on projects that help humans and aliens work together. I've written 12 research papers that have been translated into over 50 alien languages." 12 papers? Jake said with a smirk. "Wow, that's impressive. I bet they're real page-turners. Do you include pictures so people can stay awake while reading them?" The alien viewers began to feel uncomfortable. This was not the kind of behavior they expected from humans. Humans were supposed to be brave and honorable. They had fought in the Great Wars. They had saved many worlds from destruction. But this human was acting like a child. Anna's hands tightened on her tablet. She was starting to get angry, but she did not want to show it. My research has helped prevent 3 potential wars between alien species. It has also opened new trade routes that have helped everyone. 3 wars, Jake said, leaning back in his chair. That's cute. But let's be honest here, Anna. The real reason you prevent wars is because you're too pretty to fight in them, right? The words hit Anna like a slap. She had trained for years to become a diplomat. She had worked harder than most people ever would. She had earned her place through intelligence and dedication. But Jake was reducing everything she had accomplished to her appearance. On a distant research station, Commander Ryan Walker watched the broadcast on his small screen. His jaw was tight with anger. He had fought alongside many brave humans during the Void Wars. He had seen men and women die to protect others. He had seen the best of humanity. What he was seeing now was the worst. Jake continued his attack. I mean, come on. You're here to look good and smile while the smart guys do the real work. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people are meant to be decorations. Anna's professional mask finally cracked. Her voice shook slightly as she spoke. Jake, I have a doctorate in xenopsychology from the Galactic University. I speak 8 alien languages fluently. I have personally negotiated peace treaties that have saved millions of lives. Sure you have, Jake said with a wave of his hand. And I'm sure you looked great doing it. Across the galaxy, alien viewers began to turn off their screens. They were disgusted by what they were seeing. Some began to send messages to their governments. Maybe humans were not ready to be part of the galactic community after all. But Ryan Walker did not turn off his screen. He stood up from his chair and walked to his ship. He had seen enough. It was time to remind the galaxy what real humans were like. The broadcast continued, but something had changed across the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, aliens were no longer just watching. They were talking to each other. They were asking questions. They were getting angry. On the planet Cathar, Ambassador, Zara stood up from her viewing chair. Her forearms moved in sharp, angry gestures. The Cathari were a proud warrior race. They had codes of honor that went back 10,000 years. What they were seeing on the broadcast broke every rule they believed in. This cannot be, Zara said to her aide. This human male dishonors the female in front of the entire galaxy. This is not the way of warriors. Her aide, a younger Cathari named Bron, nodded his head. Should we send a message to the human government? Zara's eyes, which were bright orange when she was calm, had turned deep red. Yes. We must know if this is how all human males treat their females. If it is, then humans are not worthy of the Galactic Council. On the water world of Aquanis, the dolphin-like Aquari swam in worried circles. Their leader, prime swimmer Delph, clicked and whistled to his council. The sounds were translated into thousands of languages across the galaxy. The human female shows great wisdom, Delph said. Her words carry the weight of knowledge, but the human male treats her like a swimming toy. This disturbs the waters of my mind. The Aquari had always liked humans. They thought humans were brave and smart. They had traded with human colonies for many years, but now they were not sure. In the crystal cities of Zenari Prime, the telepathic, Zenari felt something they had never felt before from a human broadcast. They felt shame and anger, but not from their own minds. They were feeling Anna's emotions through the translation devices. Elder Mind. Zephyr spoke to the collective consciousness of his people. The female human's pain reaches us through the emotion. Translators. She suffers while maintaining her dignity. This is strength, but the male human causes this pain for his own pleasure. This is weakness. The Zenari had mental powers that could read feelings across space. They prided themselves on understanding the true nature of all beings. What they felt from Jake Morrison made them sick. Back on Earth in the broadcast studio, Jake was getting worse. The first commercial break had ended, and he came back even more confident. He thought the aliens were loving his show. Welcome back to Cosmic Conversations, Jake said to the camera. I'm here with Ana Martinez, who's going to tell us about some boring science stuff. But don't worry, I'll try to make it interesting. Ana had used the commercial break to calm herself down. She was a professional. She would not let Jake ruin this important broadcast. Too many people were counting on her. Thank you, Jake, Ana said, her voice steady. Tonight, I want to talk about the new translation technology that allows us to share emotions across species. It's helping us understand each other better than ever before. Emotions? Jake laughed. Oh, this should be good. Let me guess. You're going to tell us that aliens have feelings too? Next, you'll say they cry when they watch sad movies. Ana tried to stay calm. Actually, yes. The research shows that most intelligent species experience emotions very similar to humans. Fear, joy, anger, love. The translation devices help us share these feelings. Love? Jake's voice got louder and more mocking. Come on, Ana, you're talking about space monsters. Do you really think that big ugly thing from Alpha Centauri knows what love is? Across the galaxy, the big ugly thing from Alpha Centauri was watching. His name was Commander Thorax, and he had saved a human colony from space pirates just last year. His species, the Thornians, looked like giant insects, but they had hearts that beat with the same emotions as any human. Commander Thorax felt hurt by Jake's words. He had risked his life for humans. He thought humans were his friends. On the forest world of Verdania, the plant-like Verdani swayed their branches in distress. They communicated through chemical signals that smelled like flowers. Right now, those signals smelled like sadness. The human male does not understand, said Elder Root, the oldest of the Verdani. He thinks only creatures that look like him can feel true emotions. This is the thinking of a small mind. Back in the studio, Ana was fighting to keep control of the show. Jake, the research is very clear. Intelligence and emotion go together. Species that can build starships and solve complex problems also experience complex feelings. Sure they do, Jake said with a wave of his hand. And I bet they all want to date you too. Is that why you spend so much time with them? Can't find a human boyfriend? The words hit Ana like a physical blow. Her cheeks turned red, but not from embarrassment. She was angry now. Really angry. My personal life is not part of this discussion, Ana said through gritted teeth. Oh, come on, Jake continued. We're all friends here. Tell us about your love life. Do you prefer the ones with tentacles or the ones with multiple eyes? On the ice world of Glacius, the fur-covered Glacians howled in anger. They were a peaceful species, but Jake's words made them want to fight. Their leader, Chief Frost, slammed his massive paw on his viewing table. This human male dishonors all females, not just his own species, Chief Frost growled. He dishonors the memory of the human female warriors who died saving our world from the ice plague. The Glacians remembered the human medical team that had come to their world during the Great Sickness. Half of that team had been female doctors. They had worked day and night to save Glacian lives. 3 of them had died from the ice plague while treating patients. To hear Jake talk about human females as objects made the Glacians' blood boil. Dr. Zara Keth, the Cathari ambassador, could not take any more. She activated her communication device and sent a message directly to the human embassy on Cathar Prime. Human ambassador, her message said, we are watching your broadcast. We must know. Does this male represent the true nature of human males? Do all human males treat their females with such disrespect? The Honor Council of Cathar demands answers. Similar messages were flooding in from across the galaxy. The Aquari were asking questions. The Zanari were expressing concern. Even the peaceful lunar rabbits of Cottontail Station were sending worried messages. On Earth, in the Human Diplomatic Corps headquarters, alarms were starting to ring. Messages were coming, in from dozens of alien governments. All of them were asking the same question. What kind of species were humans really? But Jake Morrison knew none of this. He was too busy enjoying what he thought was his moment of fame. He had no idea that his words were destroying humanity's reputation across the galaxy. Ana Martinez knew, though. She could see the message lights, blinking on her tablet. She could feel the weight of billions of alien eyes watching her. She knew that how she handled this situation would affect humanity's future among the stars. She took a deep breath and prepared to fight back. Ryan Walker's ship moved through space like a silver arrow. He had left his research station 20 minutes ago. Now he was approaching Europa Station, where the broadcast was happening. His jaw was tight with anger, but his hands were steady on the controls. Ryan was not a young man anymore. His hair was gray at the sides and lines marked his face. But his eyes were still sharp and blue like ice. Those eyes had seen too much war. They had seen humans at their best and worst. Right, now they were seeing the worst. Europa Station Control, this is Commander Ryan Walker requesting permission to dock, he said into his radio. The voice that came back was excited. Commander Walker? The Commander Walker? Sir, you have immediate clearance. Bay 7 is open. For you. Ryan did not smile. He was not here for praise or recognition. He was here to fix a problem. In the broadcast studio, Jake was getting worse. The second commercial break had just ended, and he came back with even more confidence. He thought he was being funny. He thought the aliens loved his jokes. And we're back, Jake said to the camera. I'm still here with Ana Martinez, who's been telling us all about alien feelings. Ana, do you really spend your time talking to space creatures about their emotions? Ana's patience was running out. She had tried to be professional. She had tried to stay calm, but Jake was making it impossible. Jake, these space creatures are our allies, Ana said. They've helped us cure diseases. They've shared technology with us. They've fought beside us in wars. Oh, right, Jake said with a smirk. The wars. Tell me, Ana, when the fighting started, where were you? Safe in some laboratory while the real heroes did the fighting? Ana's eyes flashed with anger. I was on the front lines as a diplomatic officer. I negotiated ceasefires that saved thousands of lives. Sure you were, Jake laughed. I bet you negotiated real hard. Did you use your special feminine charms? That was when the studio door opened. Ryan Walker walked in quietly. He was not a big man, but something about him made everyone stop and look. The camera operators recognized him immediately. One of them swung his camera to focus on Ryan. Jake was too busy talking to notice. I mean, let's be honest here, folks. When there's real work to be done, men do it. Women like Ana here are good for morale, if you know what I mean. I know exactly what you mean, Ryan said. His voice was not loud, but it carried across the studio like thunder. Jake stopped talking and turned around. He saw a man in a simple gray uniform walking toward the desk. Excuse me, Jake said, annoyed. This is a private broadcast. You can't just walk in here. Ryan kept walking. He moved with the confidence of a man who had commanded starships and led armies. Actually, I can. This broadcast is going out to the entire galaxy. That makes it everyone's business. The camera operators kept filming. They knew they were seeing something important. Across the galaxy, aliens leaned closer to their screens. Jake looked confused. He did not recognize Ryan. Look, buddy, I don't know who you are, but you need to leave. Security. No security guards came. They all knew who Ryan Walker was. They were not going to throw out a war hero. My name is Ryan Walker, Ryan said simply. Ana's eyes went wide. She knew that name. Every human in the galaxy knew that name. Ryan Walker had led the human fleet in the Battle of Void's Edge. He had saved 3 alien worlds from destruction. He was a legend. Jake's face went blank. The name meant nothing to him. Great. Nice to meet you, Randy. Ryan. Ana corrected quietly. Whatever, Jake said. Look, Ryan, we're in the middle of a show here. Can you come back later? Ryan reached the desk and stood behind it. He looked directly into the main camera. No, I don't think I can wait. Across the galaxy, aliens who remembered the Void Wars sat up straighter. They knew that face. They knew that calm, steady voice. This was the human who had kept his promise to protect their worlds when everyone said it was impossible. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all species, Ryan said to the camera. "My name is Commander Ryan Walker. I want to apologize for what you've been seeing tonight." Jake tried to interrupt. "Hey, wait a minute, you can't just—" Ryan turned to look at Jake. His ice-blue eyes were cold and hard. Jake's voice died in his throat. "You've been seeing one human's opinion of how men should treat women," Ryan continued, still looking at Jake. "Let me be very clear. This man does not speak for humanity." Ryan turned back to the camera. "Ana Martinez is one of the finest humans I know. Her work has prevented wars. Her research has saved lives. Her diplomatic skills have built bridges between species that had never trusted each other before." Ana felt tears in her eyes. After an hour of Jake's attacks, hearing someone defend her felt like water in a desert. "But more than that," Ryan continued, "she represents the best of what humans can be. Intelligent, brave, and dedicated to making the galaxy a better place for everyone." Jake found his voice again. "Look, I don't know what your problem is, old man, but Ana and I were having a conversation. She can speak for herself." Ryan turned back to Jake. "You're right. She can speak for herself. She's been trying to do that all night while you talked over her, insulted her, and reduced her accomplishments to her appearance." "I was just being friendly," Jake said, but his voice was getting smaller. "No," Ryan said quietly. "You were being cruel. There's a difference." On Cathar Prime, Ambassador Zara leaned forward in her chair. This was more like it. This human understood honor. "Ana Martinez has a doctorate in xenopsychology," Ryan said, turning back to the camera. "She speaks 8 alien languages. She has written research papers that are taught in universities across 40 worlds. She has negotiated peace treaties that have prevented 3 wars." Ryan paused and looked directly at Jake. "What have you done?" Jake's mouth opened and closed like a fish. He had no answer. "I'll tell you what you've done," Ryan continued. "You've spent the last hour embarrassing our entire species in front of the galaxy. You've insulted a woman who has done more for humanity than you'll do in 10 lifetimes. Across the galaxy, aliens began to feel something they had not felt since the broadcast started. Hope. This human was different. This human understood respect." Ryan was not finished. "You want to know about real men, Jake? Real men build others up. They don't tear them down. Real men recognize talent and intelligence no matter who has it. Real men protect those who are working to make the world better." Jake tried one more time to regain control. "Look, I don't know who you think you are. I know exactly who I am," Ryan said. "I'm someone who has fought beside brave humans of all genders. I've seen human women die to protect alien children. I've seen human men and women work together to solve problems that seemed impossible." Ryan stepped closer to Jake. "And I'm someone who won't sit quietly while you dishonor their memory." The studio was completely quiet except for the soft hum of the cameras. Jake Morrison sat in his chair, looking smaller than he had all night. Ryan Walker stood tall beside the desk, his calm presence filling the room. Ana Martinez watched in amazement as the man she had only heard about in stories defended her honor in front of the entire galaxy. Ryan turned to face the main camera again. When he spoke, his voice was steady and strong. "I want to tell you all a story about Ana Martinez, a story Jake here doesn't seem to know." Jake opened his mouth to speak, but Ryan held up one hand. The gesture was simple, but it carried the authority of someone who had commanded fleets and led armies. Jake fell silent. 3 years ago, the Thornian colony on New Harvest was dying, Ryan began. A plague had struck their world. Their doctors couldn't cure it. Their children were getting sick. They asked the galaxy for help. On Alpha Centauri, Commander Thorax listened with his large, compound eyes focused on the screen. He remembered that terrible time. "Most governments sent medical supplies," Ryan continued. "That was good, but it wasn't enough. The Thornians needed someone who could understand their biology and find a real cure. They needed someone who could talk to them, understand their culture, and work with their doctors." Ryan looked directly at Ana. Ana Martinez volunteered to go. She spent 6 months on New Harvest working 18 hours a day. She learned the Thornian language. She studied their medical practices. She treated sick children with her own hands. Anna felt her cheeks grow warm. She had never told anyone the full story of what happened on New Harvest. It had been too personal, too painful. But the plague got worse, Ryan said. The Thornian doctors told Anna that she should leave. They said it was too dangerous for a human. They said she had done enough. Across the galaxy, billions of beings listened to every word. This was not the story they had expected to hear tonight. Anna refused to leave, Ryan continued. She said she had made a promise to help, and she would keep that promise even if it killed her. She worked day and night. For another month, she barely slept, she barely ate. Ryan's voice grew softer, but somehow that made it more powerful. Finally, she found the answer. The plague was caused by a virus that attacked the Thornian immune system. But Anna discovered that a combination of human and Thornian medicines could stop it. She had created the first truly interspecies medical treatment. On New Harvest, thousands of young Thornians who were alive because of Anna's work watched the broadcast with their families. They owed their lives to the woman Jake had been insulting all night. Anna saved an entire world, Ryan said. But she almost died doing it. She caught the plague herself in the final weeks. The cure she had created worked, but just barely. She spent 2 months in a Thornian hospital fighting for her life. Jake looked uncomfortable. This was not the kind of story he wanted to hear. It made him look bad. When Anna finally got better, Ryan continued, the Thornian government offered to make her a citizen of their world. They wanted to give her the highest honors their species could give. They wanted to build statues of her in their capital city. Ryan smiled slightly. Anna said no. She said she was just doing her job. She said any human would have done the same thing. On Kethar Prime, Ambassador Zara felt her heart swell with respect. This was the kind of honor her people understood. This was what a true warrior looked like. But Anna was wrong about one thing, Ryan said, looking directly at Jake. Not every human would have done the same thing. Some humans only care about themselves. Jake's face turned red. Look, I don't know what this has to do with anything. I was just trying to make good television. Good television? Ryan's voice was still calm, but there was steel in it now. You were destroying the reputation of our entire species for entertainment. Ryan turned back to the camera. Let me tell you about more of Anna's work. Last year, the Aquari and the Cathari almost went to war over fishing rights in the neutral zone. Both species had valid claims. Both were angry. Their fleets were facing each other across space, ready to fight. On Aquanus, Prime Swimmer Delph clicked his approval. On Kethar Prime, Ambassador Zara nodded her four-armed salute. The Galactic Council was helpless, Ryan continued. They couldn't find a solution that both sides would accept. The diplomats from a dozen worlds tried and failed. War seemed certain. Ryan paused for effect. Then Ana Martinez asked for permission to try. She spent 3 weeks learning about Aquari culture and Cathari honor codes. She studied their histories, their religions, their ways of thinking. Jake rolled his eyes. Boring, he muttered. Ryan ignored him. Anna didn't try to force a solution on them. Instead, she found a way for both species to keep their honor while sharing the resources they needed. She created the Mutual Prosperity Agreement that both sides could be proud of. Across the galaxy, the Aquari and Cathari fleets that had once faced each other in anger now worked together to protect trade routes. Anna's agreement had turned enemies into allies. But that's not all, Ryan said. Anna's work on emotional translation, technology has helped 50 different species understand each other better. Her research on cultural exchange has prevented dozens of smaller conflicts. Her diplomatic training programs have taught thousands of beings how to work together. Ryan looked at Jake again. And you reduced all of that to her appearance. You turned one of humanity's greatest achievements into a joke. Jake tried to defend himself. I was just being friendly. I was trying to lighten the mood. No, Ryan said firmly. You were being cruel because you thought it would make you look important. You were tearing down someone better than you because it made you feel powerful. On Glacius, Chief Frost roared his approval. This human understood justice. Ryan stepped closer to the camera. I want every being watching this to understand something. Jake Morrison does not represent humanity. He represents the worst parts of any species. Selfishness, cruelty, and the need to hurt others to feel good about yourself. Jake's face was now bright red with anger and embarrassment. You can't talk to me like this. I have rights. Yes, you do, Ryan agreed. You have the right to speak. But the rest of us have the right to judge what you say, and tonight the galaxy is judging. Ryan turned to Anna. Dr. Martinez, would you like to tell our viewers about your current research project? Anna looked surprised. After an hour of being attacked and then defended, she wasn't sure what to say. It's okay, Ryan said gently. Take your time. The galaxy is listening, and they want to hear from you, not from him. Anna took a deep breath. She looked into the camera and began to speak about her work with quiet confidence. As she talked about her research into peaceful conflict resolution, aliens across the galaxy leaned forward to listen. For the first time all night, they were hearing from the real Anna Martinez, and she was everything Ryan had said she was. Anna spoke for 10 minutes about her research. Her voice grew stronger with each word. She explained how different species could work together to solve problems. She talked about new ways to prevent wars. She shared her dreams of a galaxy where all beings could live in peace. The aliens watching began to understand what Ryan had been trying to show them. This was what a real human looked like. This was the kind of person they wanted to work with. Jake Morrison sat in his chair, getting smaller and smaller. Nobody was paying attention to him anymore. The cameras focused on Anna and Ryan. The galaxy was listening to them, not him. When Anna finished speaking, Ryan smiled at her. Thank you, Dr. Martinez. That was exactly what the galaxy needed to hear. The show's producer, a nervous man named Pete, came onto the set. He looked scared and confused. Commander Walker, sir? We're getting calls from everywhere. The phone lines are completely jammed. Good calls or bad calls? Ryan asked. Both, Pete said. A lot of alien governments want to talk to Dr. Martinez. They want to hire her for their own projects. But we're also getting calls from the Galactic Broadcasting Network. They want to talk to Mr. Morrison. Jake perked up. Maybe this was good news. Maybe the network loved his show. Pete looked at Jake with sad eyes. Mr. Morrison, they want to talk to you about ending your contract immediately. Jake's face went white. What? They can't do that. I have a deal. Not anymore, Pete said. They're calling it a breach of galactic broadcasting standards. They say your behavior tonight was unacceptable. Across the galaxy, the consequences were starting to happen. On Kethar Prime, Ambassador Zara sent a message to the human embassy. But this time the message was different. Human Ambassador, her message said, we have seen Commander Ryan Walker defend Dr. Anna Martinez. We now understand that not all humans are like the male Morrison. The Kethari Council wishes to invite Commander Walker to visit our world as an honored guest. Similar messages were coming from everywhere. The Aquari wanted Ryan to speak at their peace conference. The Zanari offered him a place in their Council of Minds. The Thornians wanted to give him the same honors they had offered Anna. But Jake Morrison was getting very different messages. On Verdania, Elder Root sent a formal complaint to the Galactic Council. The human Morrison has shown disrespect for intelligence and wisdom. The Verdani people do not wish to work with humans who think this way. On Glacius, Chief Frost was even more direct. Morrison is not welcome on Glacian worlds. We do not trade with beings who dishonor their own people. The crystal beings of Sparkle Prime, who rarely spoke to other species, sent their first message to humans in 50 years. We watched the broadcast. We do not understand why the human Morrison was allowed to speak. We prefer to work with humans like Dr. Martinez and Commander Walker. On Earth, the human diplomatic corps was in chaos. Director Helen Cross was getting calls from alien governments faster than she could answer them. Half wanted to hire Anna Martinez. The other half wanted to ban Jake Morrison from their worlds. Get me a direct line to Commander Walker, Helen told her assistant. We need him back in active service immediately. But Ryan was not interested in coming back to active service. He had other plans. Dr. Martinez, Ryan said, turning to Anna. The Galactic Broadcasting Network is going to need a new host for this show. Would you be interested in the job? Anna's eyes went wide. Me? Host cosmic conversations, but I'm just a scientist. You're not just anything, Ryan said firmly. You're exactly what this galaxy needs. Someone who understands different species. Someone who can bring beings together instead of driving them apart. Jake finally found his voice again. Wait just a minute. This is my show. You can't just give it to her. Pete, the producer, looked at Jake with tired eyes. Mr. Morrison, you don't have a show anymore. The network fired you 5 minutes ago. Jake stood up from his chair. His face was red with anger. This is not fair. I made this show interesting. I made people watch. Yes, you did, Ryan agreed. You made them watch you destroy everything that Anna has worked for. You made them watch you embarrass our entire species. Congratulations. Ryan turned to the camera one last time. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of all species, thank you for watching tonight. I hope you understand that Jake Morrison's behavior does not represent humanity. We are better than this. We can be better than this. The broadcast ended, but the consequences were just beginning. Within an hour, Jake Morrison's name was trending on every social media platform in the galaxy. But not in a good way. Beings from hundreds of worlds were sharing clips of his worst moments. They were using his name as an example of how not to behave. The University of New Geneva, where Jake had gotten his degree, sent him a letter. They were ashamed that he was their graduate. They asked him to stop mentioning their name in his biography. The Human Entertainment Guild kicked him out. They said his behavior had damaged the reputation of all human entertainers. Even his old friends stopped returning his calls. But Anna Martinez was having a very different experience. The Galactic Broadcasting Network offered her Jake's job within 2 hours of the broadcast ending. They also offered her double his salary and complete creative control over the show. 3 alien governments offered her jobs as their chief diplomatic advisor. The Thornian Medical College wanted to give her an honorary doctorate. The Ketheri Academy of Honor asked her to teach a course on interspecies respect. The University of Xenopsychology offered her the position of dean. They said her work represented the best of what education could achieve, but the offer that made Anna smile the most came from Ryan Walker himself. Dr. Martinez, Ryan said as they walked out of the studio together, would you like a co-host for your new show? I think the galaxy could use more conversations about what humans can accomplish when we work together. Anna looked at the man who had defended her when she needed it most. Commander Walker, I would be honored to work with you. Behind them, Jake Morrison sat alone in the empty studio. The lights were turned off. The cameras were silent. He was still trying to understand what had gone wrong. He had thought he was being entertaining. He had thought the aliens would love his jokes. He had never imagined that his words could have such consequences. Now, he was learning that actions have results. Words have power. And when you use that power to hurt others, sometimes the galaxy decides you don't deserve to have it anymore. Jake Morrison had wanted to be famous. He had wanted everyone in the galaxy to know his name. He got his wish, but not the way he had hoped. 6 months later, the galaxy was a very different place. The show that had once been called Cosmic Conversations was now called Galactic Unity. Anna Martinez sat behind the host desk, wearing a simple green dress that matched her confident smile. Beside her sat Ryan Walker, wearing his crisp military uniform with pride. Good evening, Galaxy, Anna said to the camera. Welcome to Galactic Unity. I'm Anna Martinez. And I'm Ryan Walker, Ryan added with a warm smile. Tonight, we have some wonderful guests who want to share stories of cooperation between different species. The studio looked completely different now. Instead of one desk, there were comfortable chairs arranged in a circle. The lighting was softer and warmer. Everything about the show felt welcoming and peaceful. Their first guest was Commander Thorax from Alpha Centauri. The large insect-like being sat carefully in his specially made chair. His compound eyes gleamed as he spoke. Dr. Martinez, Thorax, said in his clicking voice, I wanted to thank you again for what you did on New Harvest. My youngest daughter was one of the children you saved. Anna smiled warmly. How is she doing now, Commander? She is studying medicine, Thorax replied. She wants to help other species the way you helped us. She says you are her hero. Across the galaxy, millions of beings watched this conversation with interest. This was so different from the old show. Here they saw respect between species. They saw friendship. They saw hope. The show's second guest was Ambassador Zara from Kethar Prime. Her forearms moved gracefully as she spoke about the new trade agreements between humans and Kethari. Commander Walker, Zara said, your visit to our world was a great honor. The Kethari Council has never welcomed a human with such ceremony. Ryan looked humble. The honor was mine, Ambassador. Your people taught me much about what true strength looks like. And what is that? Anna asked. True strength, Ryan said, looking into the camera, is using your power to protect others, not to hurt them. It's building up those around you instead of tearing them down. In living rooms across 1,000 worlds, parents explained to their children what Commander Walker meant. Teachers used his words in their classrooms. The phrase became famous throughout the galaxy. The show continued with more guests. Dr. Harmony from the Aquari spoke about new medical research being done with human doctors. Elder Root from Verdania talked about environmental projects that were helping both plant and animal species. Each guest had the same thing to say. Working with humans like Anna and Ryan was an honor. They represented the best of what intelligent beings could accomplish together. But what about Jake Morrison? Jake sat in his small apartment on Earth, watching the show on his old television. He had been watching every episode for 6 months. At first he had been angry. Then he had been jealous. Now he was just sad. Jake had not worked since that terrible night. No one would hire him. His name had become a warning throughout the galaxy. When beings wanted to describe bad behavior, they called it pulling a Morrison. His savings were almost gone. His friends had stopped calling. His family was embarrassed by what he had done. Jake Morrison had become the most famous human in the galaxy, but for all the wrong reasons. He watched Anna and Ryan talk with their guests about building bridges between species. He watched them laugh together like old friends. He watched them treat everyone with respect and kindness. Jake began to understand what he had lost. Not just his job or his fame. He had lost the chance to be part of something bigger than himself. He had lost the chance to help make the galaxy a better place. On the television, Anna was interviewing a young Glacian scientist who had invented a new type of faster-than-light communication. The scientist was nervous, but Anna made her feel comfortable with gentle questions and encouraging smiles. This is amazing work, Anna said to the young Glacian. How long did it take you to develop this technology? 5 years, the scientist replied, her fur standing up with pride. But I could not have done it without help from human engineers. They taught me things I never would have learned alone. Ryan nodded approvingly. That's what the galaxy should be about. Different species sharing knowledge and helping each other grow. Jake turned off the television. He walked to his computer and began to type. Dear Dr. Martinez and Commander Walker, he wrote. My name is Jake Morrison. You probably remember me from 6 months ago. I was the man who insulted Dr. Martinez on live television. I was the man who embarrassed our entire species in front of the galaxy. Jake stopped typing and thought about what to say next. Then he continued. I want you to know that I understand now what I did wrong. I was cruel to Dr. Martinez because I was jealous of her intelligence and success. I made jokes about her appearance because I had nothing intelligent to say about her work. I treated her badly because it made me feel important. Jake's hands shook as he typed the next part. I know I can never take back what I did. I know I can never repair the damage I caused. But I want you to know that I am sorry. I am sorry for hurting Dr. Martinez. I am sorry for embarrassing humanity. I am sorry for showing the galaxy the worst parts of what we can be. Jake saved the letter, but did not send it yet. He had more to say. I have been watching your show for 6 months. I have seen how you treat your guests with respect. I have seen how you bring different species together. I have seen what real humans look like. Jake stood up and walked to his window. He looked out at the stars and thought about all the worlds where beings knew his name as a symbol of shame. He went back to his computer and finished the letter. I know I will never be forgiven for what I did. I know I will never get another chance to represent humanity to the galaxy. But I want you to know that you have shown me what I should have been. You have shown me what humans can be at their best. Jake signed the letter and sent it. A week later, Jake received a reply. It was short and simple. Mr. Morrison, thank you for your letter. Everyone deserves a chance to learn and grow. If you are truly sorry for what you did, then prove it by being better. The galaxy is watching all of us. Make sure they see the good in humanity when they look at you. Ana Martinez and Ryan Walker. Jake printed the letter and put it on his wall. Every morning when he woke up, he read it again. Slowly, Jake began to change. He volunteered at local charities. He helped teach children about respecting others. He never tried to get back into broadcasting, but he found other ways to serve. Years later, when people asked Jake about that terrible night, he would say, I learned that our actions echo across the galaxy. I made sure my echoes got better. And, across the stars, galactic unity continued to show the galaxy what humans could be at their finest. Ana and Ryan proved that the best of humanity was worth celebrating, and that even the worst mistakes could teach important lessons. The galaxy remembered Jake Morrison's name, but now they also remembered why his story mattered. It showed that everyone has the choice to be better, and that choice shapes not just their own future, but the future of everyone around them.